Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com, and in this video, I want to show you how to make money using patience and persistence. Now, before you go assuming, which would be a good assumption, Clay, you're going to talk about investing. You're going to talk about, well, yeah, you need patience, you need persistence, and then over the decades, your money will grow, compounding interest, all that. And that is true. You are not wrong at all. But in this instance, I'm going to be talking about day trading and how patience and persistence can help you make money in the realm with the strategy of day trading. Now, I'm going to be using the day trading of stocks here, but this does apply from a trader psychology standpoint to any sort of financial instrument or asset you're trading. So Forex, futures, options, cryptocurrency, this applies to it all. And I also want to get out there that I'm not going to sit here and lecture you in theory. I'm going to use a real life example that as of the video, of the recording of this video, it just happened. And that way you can see how this all would have played out and did play out in a real world setting. So on the screen here, you can see an alert that I made to my private community chat room. If you're not familiar, at claytrader.com, I do offer a private community. So here's an alert that I made, and just to quickly set up the context here. So again, you know that none of this is being talked about in theory. This is all something that literally happened. But at 12:58 p.m., so that's Eastern time, I made this alert on BA for Boeing and 137.15 short. So a quick little recap there if you're brand new or just getting started in the market. All short means, and believe it or not, you can make money when prices go down in the market. If that's the first time you've heard that, your mind is probably blown right now, but because it was for me. But yes, in the market, you can make money when prices go down. That is known as shorting or going short. And there's all sorts of variations of the lingo, but in this situation, 137.15 short means you would expect the price, or in this situation, I expected the price to go up to 137.15 and then start to move back down, which again, from a shorting perspective, would be a good thing, would cause you as a trader to make money. So that's what shorting is, and that's what I meant by 137.15 short. And then a stop over 137.50. Stop is just shorthand for, just a stop loss, and that's just a risk mitigation variable up there. But point here being, that was the alert that was made. Looking to go short at 137.15. So let's see how this actually played out. Here is the actual chart. Hopefully it looks familiar. It's essentially what you were just looking at, but this will allow me to add in some more movement and just dynamic action here. So again, that red, back to kindergarten for me to learn my colors. That yellow line there represents 137.15, and then the white line up there represents that stop loss. So let's see what happens with that very next candle. So that very next candle, you'll see that the price went up, and look at that. It hit the yellow line, but actually it did not hit the yellow line. If you look right here, specifically right there, I want you to look at that number, high, 137.14. Let me say that again, 137.14. What was the alert that I made? 137.15. So not to insult your intelligence, but 1 penny, quite literally, on a $130 stock, 1 penny away from the entry point. That can create a lot of frustration. And then you notice right there, you see that after the price hit that, the price just went down and down and down it went. Now, I am a human being, and like any human being, I have emotions. Am I perfect in those emotions? No, but I realize that I have them. And I just couldn't help myself. I had to, in the chat room, just make a comment about it because it is kind of very laughable in a cruel and ironic type of way. So I just made the comment up here a little bit later that, look at that high, 137.15. Ugh. That's just crazy, right? That's ridiculous. I mean, literally 1 penny away from what have turned out to be, potentially a very nice trade. But this is where patience comes into play. And then I thought, what is the act? I mean, I know what patience means. I'm sure you understand what patience means, but sometimes I just like to look up words to see what they have to say. And yeah, I mean, it really does apply perfectly here to this situation, and then just, day trading as a whole. But the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, suffering. Yes, that right there is the epitome of suffering and trouble. I mean, a fantastic. So what is it though? The capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without what? Getting angry or upset. So in full disclosure, I mean, this is why I kind of laugh, because I got to call myself out here. I'm not perfect. This is now, was I like throwing chairs across the room and, busting chair and like, throwing rocks through my computer screen? No, I wasn't that angry or upset. But yeah, right there, that little comment does reveal that there was definitely some frustration there. There was definitely, wow, that is just, so I guess, some anger. Again, anger to the point of, running around and, chucking stuff around my office. No, but yeah, there was definitely some frustration there. But what's the definition of patience? Without doing that sort of stuff. Now, to give myself credit, sure, maybe I need to improve in the patience realm, but I was persistent. I was definitely persistent. And what do I mean by that? Well, you'll see in just a second. But what is persistence? Now, of course, you look up persistence and it says the act of persisting. So it's like, okay, well, let me look up persist. So here we have that. So to continue steadfastly or firmly in some state, purpose, course of action, or the like, especially in spite of opposition. So in other words, opposition here was the fact that it didn't go my way. It almost went my way, except it was, again, 1 penny short. No pun intended. It was 1 penny less. So that's the problem with things calling short. Then you have all these puns that creep up, but you get what I mean. But the point here, and like I said, I'm being honest with myself, definitely got to work with that part. The UGG revealed some into my lack of patience there, but I was patient enough to the point where I was persistent with it, and I held, steadfastly, right? I kept with it, and I kept watching, and I kept watching. So let's see how this actually played out. So as the next, and I should note these are 5-minute candlesticks. So if you're not familiar, well, first off, this is what is known as a candlestick right there. But the next, key thing is, yes, each of these are candlesticks. But when I say 5-minute, each one of these candlesticks is 5 minutes worth of price action. So right there, when it hit by 1 penny short there of not hitting it, 5 minutes, and then the next 5 minutes, you can see it just continued to fall in the direction. And again, from a short trade, this is what you want to see. You want to see the price going down. If you are short a stock, you are making money on it. So this is great price action here. And then you can see the price, green candle. So price started to come back up, and price started to come back up again. So at this point, because I was patient, because I was persistent, meaning, I stuck with it, I continued to watch it, this is what played out next. Picking back up with the quote-unquote story here. So now it's 1:22 p.m. Eastern time. And again, because to pat myself on the back here a little bit, need to work on patience, but persistence was there. I continue to watch it, and I made this alert right here. I said, hey, you know what? There's another Boeing trade here. And then I did put the contingency, if you believe that the SPY, which if you're unfamiliar, maybe new or just getting started, that just represents the overall markets. So if you believe that the SPY is essentially going to get rejected at some other technical point. So it's just saying, hey, looking like another BA trade. But what are your thoughts in regard to the market? If you believe that the market is going to get rejected, then yeah, you would think, and BA would definitely be, another trade opportunity. However, for me, unfortunately, I had to make the comment right there that I have a podcast at 1:30. So again, not to insult your intelligence, but this was at 1:22 p.m., 1:30. So I'm not going to put myself into a trade but with 8 minutes before a podcast, because then you got to get stuff set up for the podcast. And if somebody's going to take time out of their schedule to do my podcast, which if I'll do a quick plug, if you're not familiar, I do offer a podcast totally free. So on iTunes, just search for the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, and you'll see that. But the point here being, people volunteer to come on the show, so I want to respect them. I want to give them my full attention. So I'm not going to put myself into a trade and then either have to show up late or only be paying half attention because I'm trying to watch a trade. And I get, well, Clay, you could do this, that, and you're right. You're not wrong at all. I could do those other things, but in my mind, I just want to make sure that I give that person their sole focus. So for me, I had to just make a comment that, you know what, I'm out. I'm not going to be able to take that trade, but hey, you know what, alerting to the members that are there, looking like another trade could have played out. And why though? The core learning point, how was I able to stick with it and notice another trade? Well, I didn't sit there and be like, 1 penny, bleh, I'm going to take my ball and go home. No, I was persistent. I thought, all right, I'll stick with it though. Let me just be patient. Maybe something else will come along. Now, was my patience perfect? No, it absolutely wasn't, as we've already talked about. But I was still patient, and patience in combination with that persistence led me to continue to watch it, and then to the point where, I was able to make another alert, not take the trade myself, but at least see another opportunity. So after I made that alert, which we just talked about, the next 5 minutes, you can see the price behaved in that manner. Now, the important part here is you'll have to look relatively close, but this is known as an upper wick, upper shadow. Went that up as high as that area right there. In other words, that candle went up as high as 137.29, meaning 137.15, you would have definitely got filled. Anybody in the community that, was still paying attention and took notice of that alert would have been filled. And nothing, no lost money. I mean, now had it kept on going up, then that white line would have been where the stop was at to just remove yourself from the trade. But yeah, it went up a little bit. But then you can see here, after going up, after giving people the opportunity to get into the trade, the price started to drop and drop and drop. So let's see how this ultimately played out. So again, this is a situation where a first trade alert was over here. 1 penny shy, 1 penny short of getting up there, but with patience and persistence, got the bounce up, and then got the second opportunity right there. So let's see how this would have played out. So the next 5 minutes there, went down a little bit, not much. Did a little bit of consolidation, but still not even anywhere close. I mean, still well in the green now at this point. I mean, basically almost $1 in members' favor. And then you can see right there, tried to bounce, got rejected back down. Always a good sign when you see failed bounces. And then right there, went more in members' favor. That low was as low as 135.80. So now well over $1 per share trade. And right there went even lower at that point, as low as 135.51. So I mean, now over almost $1.50 per trade or per share. Went sideways a little bit, a bit of a bounce. So yeah, it took a little waiting right there. And then ultimately a big move upwards right there. But the point here being, from right there all the way down, I mean, that's a well over $1.50 per share move. Great trade. And again, because these are 5-minute candles, I mean, this isn't some sort of multi-day or multi-week trade. This was basically 30 minutes or so, give or take. And more, I could see some people finally being taken out here, but I did want to go in case you were maybe trying to paper trade it as I went. I'm sure that candle right there would have taken out most people because that was a very big spike back to the upside. But the point here being, am I saying anybody played it perfectly from there all the way down to there? All I'm saying is that relative to what was being risked, which was right there, I mean, this was a whole lot of upside reward that ultimately came from it. So when you see a green box much bigger than the red box, that's definitely a good thing from the risk versus reward standpoint. But again, it goes back to the whole learning point about what allowed this beautiful, beautiful trade. So again, right there, that was basically the extent of it. Filled right there, price dropped all the way down there. But the backbone of it was you had to be patient with it. You had to not just, take the attitude of, I'm taking my ball and going home. You had to be patient, allow that patience to lead to persistence. And I want to encourage you to do that within your trading. Just because something maybe doesn't work out the very first time, stick with it for a little bit. Now, am I saying that you just stick with it the entire day and you all of a sudden become stubborn and you say, no, I'm not looking at anything else until, no, I'm not saying that. But I mean, give it at least a little bit of time. And if you notice it and notice that the price is starting to behave in certain dynamics, like which I did here, well, then there's might be another opportunity, which can then lead to a very, very nice trade. But if you have an attitude of, well, that was my one and only opportunity on it, well, you're going to be cutting yourself short. You're going to be removing opportunities from yourself that could actually lead you to make money. And that's the goal here, right? As day traders, swing traders, investors, we want to make money. But especially in this case, from a day trading standpoint, you would have made money just by using patience and persistence. So this helped me. I realized, all right, Clay, got to work on my patience department a little bit, but at least I was persistent enough to have made that alert. And yes, I'm still a little jaded, bitter about it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I was giving the guests a hard time, like, you know what, man, but it was all in good fun. So I wasn't able to partake in it because, like I said, had the podcast, and it was a good decision to pat myself on the back because, yes, this was a trade that would have, eaten into the podcast time, which would have taken away from my attention. But for the members of the community that took the trade, congratulations, well done. And it was a very straightforward trade, and I don't want to say easy, but because I realize everybody's at different locations on their journey. But yeah, this was just a great setup and a secondary great setup. And I've said it many times, but I'll annoy you one more time with it. How did the secondary setup come about? Because you had to be patient. You had to be persistent to see it, but it did come along and it proved to be very profitable. One final thing before I go, if you enjoy these videos and if you would like for me to keep on making them, the quickest way to communicate that to me, please just hit that like button. It's a very, like I said, time efficient manner to just let me know that you enjoy these types of videos. Also, leave a comment down below and, comments, suggestions in terms of maybe future ideas for future videos like this, or whatever. Maybe share, have you ever had a situation, in fact, yeah, let's do that. Share down below, have you ever had a situation where patience and persistence helps you ultimately make money in a trade, where you had to go through some annoyance first, you had to go through some discomfort because maybe something didn't work out quite like you wanted it to the first time around, but again, because you were patient and persistent, it ultimately made you some money. So like I said, leave any of those sorts of situations down below in the comment section. It'd be fun to get a nice little collection of those. And also check out the channel. If you like what you see, I'm confident you will. There's lots of different types of videos. Then I'd love to have you as a subscriber to the channel, so hit that subscribe button. And then I also talk about members of the community and how people had the opportunity at that alert that I made and to make money on this trade. So if you're interested in learning more about the community and how all that works, then just go to claytrader.com/team. I'd love to have you part of the community. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to my thoughts here. And yeah, get out there, be patient, be persistent. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.